welcome to day 4. Remember the 4th of December, and we're opening the next envelope to see what is inside. The Holy Grail. Given unlimited time and expense, which miniature figures, models or terrain would you make or print, and how would you use them? Well, full-on unlimited expense opportunity here to make this a project that I'll never do, but would probably love to. I never say never, but what would I love to do? This is a bit of a child in a sweet shop moment, isn't it? And I think what's made this possible is 3D printing. Because historically, had you asked me this question 10 years ago, I'd have thought, well, I'd like those buildings from that range, and I'd like those figures from that range, and I'd like whatever. But now, the world is our oyster, that we can have people like our friend Paul, the genie at Sabotage, make anything we want. I did it recently with a North German Saxon farmhouse where I said to him, these are the photos. Do you think you could make these window frames? And do you think you could make these doors? And he said, well, why don't I just make the whole building? And I was gobsmacked that I was hoping to get a few bits of architectural detailing, but in the end, he created something which was a complete off-the-peg building, ideal for what I wanted. This reminds me of being a child in the 90s, well, I won't even go how far long ago it was, but model railways. Loving wargaming as I did and playing on the green carpet on my bedroom floor, I was always amazed when you went into toy shops at Christmas and they had a model railway display, or you went, I don't know, to the local town hall where there was an exhibition on and people were there with model railways in the most amazing terrain, or you went to a museum and they had a diorama with terrain, and you'd think, oh, wouldn't it be amazing to play a wargaming on terrain that looked like that, not my green bedroom carpet. And now we can. Everything is there. And especially in this situation where unlimited time and expense is an interesting one, because I think I'd like to focus on the unlimited expense. And so I don't actually have to spend any time on doing this because I am very time poor. Sadly, not often cash rich, but in this situation, for this particular challenge, I am. So I could get someone to build the terrain. I could get someone to paint the armies. I could get whatever I wanted commissioned. Well, that's the thing, that making a choice is often so difficult. Sometimes it's better when you go to a restaurant if there's only 3 things on the menu, so you know what you're going to have automatically because you likely wouldn't eat 2 of the 3. Unfortunately, here I'm presented with a menu that I can create myself. 1866 in Western Germany, not the main battles in Bohemia and Moravia, not the Königgrätz campaign, but the campaign against Hanover and the campaign down the Rhine, where we have Bavaria, Hanover, Württemberg, Baden, and Austria. The federal troops from Austria who'd been based at Frankfurt at the main federal diet there, fighting against the Prussians and a ragtag bunch of Hanseatic states and Saxe-Coburg, Gotha and the Black Brunswickers actually at some point put in an appearance. All of those fighting in Western Germany. We could do it in 10mm with 3D printed German towns and villages on a landscape that was purpose-built. Striking terrain, what's not to like? It's a campaign that I've always wanted to game, and it really does need doing in large-scale battles. The Prussians had an army, a complete strength of 50,000 men. Well, I wouldn't want to do all of that, but you would need to do significant parts of it as they fought their game down the Rhine and the Main. Or what about World War II in Italy? We all focus on, well, Arnhem apparently at the moment, but Normandy, Arnhem, Germany in 1945. Italy always seems to be the poor relation. You've got Brits and Yanks in shirt-sleeve order. You've got the Fallschirmjäger, you've got Hermann Göring Division. Germans in a ragtag mix of Afrika Korps and European clothing. It could look stunning with just the figures alone. And then you've got cliff-top villages and tracks winding up mountains past small farms and Roman ruins, Greek temples on Sicily. Again, it would be the model maker's dream. You could create scenarios in terrain with tall Italianate towers from the Renaissance period, overlooking villages, just amazing vineyards with little mountain tracks and tanks really limited entirely, and armour limited entirely to roads, would make for a very different style of game. Then there's Midgard and my Swordlands campaign, which I started off with Mike Hobbs thinking about the design for that years ago when we were looking at developing a set of rules together. The Swordlands campaign is set on the border marches between the lands of what I guess you could call the Empire civilization and the goblins of the dark eastern mountains. These are lands, the Swordlands, where the third and fourth sons of great aristocratic houses went in an attempt to carve out their own fiefdoms. But in the face of a goblin resurgence, they're left controlling only lonely fortifications in bleak landscapes of burnt villages, destroyed towns and despoiled farmlands. Only their knightly brotherhoods and societies are protecting the very borders of civilization in these border marches, which stand as a porous bulwark. It's very tempting. It's very tempting. But I think what might be better to do is to try and think about what would I want that wouldn't create complete armies. I think if I had unlimited expense with modelling, I think I can do the figures myself. It would be great to upgrade my terrain collection with some of those fabulous pieces that would do for any period. So if I'm doing 1866 in Western Germany, why can't I have buildings that would do for 1945? And if I'm doing destroyed villages in the borders of the empire, why can't they do for 1945 in Germany with destroyed villages? The opportunity's there, and like so many children in Sweet Shop before me, the problem is not knowing what I want, but it's knowing what to choose.